Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Growth Capital Podcast. I am your host, Justin Dixon, and today we've got Shahar Goldboim on the podcast. He is the co-founder and CEO of Boom. It is a full-scale property management software for short-term rental property managers. So pretty cool episode because we talk a lot about his experience in real estate. He kind of got into it at perfect time in 2008, just after the financial crisis, got focused on buying and selling single-family houses, and then shifted into the short-term rental space in 2017, kind of in the heyday of short-term rentals. Had built a kind of private equity-backed short-term rental business before starting Boom 3.5 years ago. So I think we get a lot out of this episode, whether you're a tech founder or a real estate investor. So let's get Shahar on the podcast. Interested in hearing conversations with private equity leaders, CEOs of private equity-backed companies, and startup entrepreneurs where they share their stories about their career journeys, starting, investing in, and scaling successful businesses, and the important role that having the right talent plays in building a successful business, then you are in the right place. Welcome back to another episode of the Growth Capital Podcast. Here's your host, Justin Dixon. All right, Shahar, welcome to the podcast. Good to see you.
Good being over here, Justin. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to jump in. So let's give a little bit of an overview to the audience of who you are, where you are, and what you're up to right now.
I'm Shahar Goldboim, CEO and founder of Boom. I'll give you a little bit background about myself. Like 2008, got into real estate, did hundreds of $millions as an investor and as a broker. 2017, got into the vacation rental sector, built a tech-enabled company in the space called Design VR that we grew up to be a company that managed $150 million of properties, where we did the buying of the properties through the brokerage, construction, design, and all of that elements. And we went into deployment of capital through like a fund. So we deployed around $50 million in the space of the vacation rental as a GP. And 3 years ago, decided to split the technology from the tech-enabled company, that what it called Boom, with the change of AI and the understanding that we can build the operating system of the business. So changing the way people think about the software in reality. Changing the concept of technology up until now was how can I help you run your business? And the new way we are thinking about it, that how do I run the business for you?
So did you get into the real estate world right after the 07, 08 kind of drop and kind of you saw hey, this is a great time to buy real estate and invest into it because obviously it's at the bottom?
So when you look at an asset and you're saying how much will it cost me to build it from ground, and you understand that the cost will be 30 to 35% more than what you're actually buying it without the land, you understand that you are in a land of opportunity, and that was 2008.
Got it. And what type of real estate were you? What type of real estate were you going after in 08? Was it just residential?
I got into the real estate area, right? So a lot of residential, single family homes, and as you grow also in the territory, understanding multifamily concept, cap rate, multiplier. Actually, in 2016, I created a startup to find return in real estate, meaning as an investor, I always look for how much can I buy a property? So you're doing the comp to what around it, what's the rent that I can get for it, assumption of what the cost will be to basically hold it, and vacancy and all of that element, and understanding the return. And as a broker investor, I did it all the time. So I said, why I won't build basically a software that's doing it by itself and understand the good deals like in the market. So this we've done in 2016. And when I got into the vacation rental market was like understanding superior returns. So at the time we did like crazy returns. So if in single family houses you were looking for like 7%, 6.5% cap rate, on the vacation rental sector at the time I would get to 17, 18% cap. So we see
Yeah.
it as a huge opportunity, and that was big reason to why we got into it. Not talking about cash on cash and all of that element of multiplier.
And where going back to the short-term rental space from a acquisition and investment standpoint, where were you seeing back in 17, 18 the kind of areas of high opportunity?
So we looked at it as like, first of all, we called ourselves Design VR. So the reason when I got into the vacation rental sector, a friend of mine called me and he told me, you know what, the house that we got to my parents in Eastern Shore, which is a fancy community in Miami, it's like $1.5 million homes at the time. Today you start over there at three and a half. But he told me, remember the house that we got to my parents? They decided not to move to it. And I want to do it Airbnb. I told him it's great that you want to do Airbnb, but it was a connection to me. And he told me, whatever you do good. So I told him, okay, let me think about it. And at the time, I was like learning about the lean theory. So I thought to myself, okay, how can I find the most information that I can before doing a lot of commitments? So I found a company in Australia that can implement interior design on top of empty pictures in Australia. And we created like a fake listing with the address of the house, a picture of the house, but basically fake furniture in it. We listed it on Airbnb, and we started receiving reservation after reservation. So I told my wife, do you want to design a home? And she's like, hell yeah. She's really talented. And this is actually how I got into the business. So when we started doing it, I already started in mid-luxury kind of concept as a first property. So we got into that area where we can buy $1 to $1.5 million homes and create like the 16-17% cap, and also the appreciation of that assets that normally would get 2 to 3% cap rate, and the appreciation of them in territory like that is really good. But finding also cap rate and a growth was amazing at the time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, back in this, 2017, 2018, kind of was still the heyday of kind of the short-term rental space. So you were kind of early to the game of kind of the depicting what an interior could look like, usually in kind of almost like virtual reality. And then you could take that and then actually, your wife or somebody else could then go in and actually design, an amazing looking luxury Airbnb. And that's where you kind of were carving out a niche, not just kind of having a condo by the beach, but having this like amazing kind of experience as well.
Yeah, so amazing experience was a big deal for us. So at the time it was with the design of the furniture. So like a lot of the houses were $2 million homes with brand new furniture. So it wasn't appealing. So you have a $2 million home that look like shit, or you have $1 million that look like gold. You will go to the $1 million that look like gold.
Yeah.
In that connotation. So that was our superiority to the market at the time. As we grow and we created a fund, we started with all of the houses with amenities. So we will buy houses on an acre and add like a golf and a basketball and a volleyball and like whatever game it is, and like a game room for the kids and video games. So it's becoming like almost like a destination home. So it's properties that people buy in like suburbs of a major metropolis that it's half an hour to go to the beach or something like that. But that's becoming the destination of the family, because they don't need to leave the house in reality. And it's like so.
And were you mainly focused in kind of the Miami area, or did you kind of expand outside of that?
So we were mostly like Southeast Florida and west side of Florida, Tampa area.
Okay.
And that was also part of my realization, right? Because we build multiply companies. So we had the we had the brokerage company, we had the fund, we had the management company, construction company, design company, cleaning company. So we were like kind of a whole. My understanding, and also developed the technology as well. So we were building our own proprietary technology. So it gave me like understanding a lot of the points and the connection between everything. But in reality, it was really hard, because what is the DNA of your company, right? Are you a hospitality company? Are you an investment company? And my realization also, there is a lot of stuff in the friction. So in my original thought was, how can I build like a tech-enabled company? Everything is connected, everybody looking at one goal to how do I create this project. But then it's also the investment to the construction. Oh, it's okay. It's not like, so it's like, there wasn't the friction that creating the movement at the time. And it was like, kind of like, again, we did really good, but at one point I decided, hey, you know what, like every company should have its own DNA. And it's like, if I'm a tech company, I need to understand tech, I need to monetize on tech, I need to be able to sell the tech to other people in order to create the priority. So the understanding of the suffering is great, but now how do I emphasize it? Because it's also hurting both of the company if you not monetize on it, right? Because the ability to grow is like, if I need to buy a property, I need to renovate, I need to do you have a lot of elements of work that won't create the growth of the technology as technology can grow. So yeah.
And I guess, I know there's been a lot of change in the short-term rental market from 2017 until today. A lot more regulations. Some companies are, or some regions of the country are, I don't know if they're outlawing it totally, but it's there's a lot more restrictions, a lot more like permits and things you need. What's your take on the short-term rental market now compared to what it was 2017, 2018 timeframe?
No, it was the wild, wild west at the time.
Yeah.
Also, we always did it with license, with cities. So we were always looking to how to do it. We were the first one putting noise sensor to track decibel of volume of like parties, and if there are like, in a way, you do vacation rental in residential areas, and it's always create like a friction. And regulations needs to come, but they also needs to find like the balance. And I think that we are still finding the balance where regulation coming a little bit harder is what they should, but we'll find like the balance. And I think it's a maturity of the market in a way.
Yeah. Are you still actively investing in buying short-term rentals, or are you, before we jump into Boom, I'm very curious about kind of the platform, but are you still actively investing in short-term rentals?
No, right now we're not actively. Like, my main focus is basically in the technology. In the real estate market right now, I don't think it's a good market to buy. From my end, like in Southeast Florida, I think that market is soft in ADR occupancy, and also it's not what we had in 2021, where the prices are really high and didn't go down yet. So from that perspective, I don't think it's the right time to buy. There are a lot of, it depends for who, because with cost segregation, if somebody have like taxes that you need to pay, like you can buy an Airbnb asset and basically declare 33% almost from the price of the home. The cost segregation the first year, that it's a huge tax benefit. So again, it really depends on the person and what they are looking for. For me, from kind of semi-institutional look of the stuff, that's my look. But obviously, every person with his own angle.
There are definitely tax benefits if you're, depending on who you are and where you are in your financial journey in life, there definitely could be tax benefits to make it make sense still. So let's kind of pivot a little bit, talk about Boom. So it's a real estate tech focused on short-term rentals. So maybe give us a little bit of an overview of, because it sounds like it kind of birthed out of your previous business and you kind of decided, hey, let me spin out the tech of it. So talk a little bit about what it does and how it works.
I don't think it's spinning up. It's like, it's understanding basically everything and to create like a value. It's let it loose rather than but yeah. So first of all, I've done on Boom, we are three partners. We are three brothers. So it's my older brother, my younger brother, and myself, where each one of us bring like a different capability to the business. I'm the business real estate entrepreneur. With Alon, I build Design VR, which is my younger brother. He's a genius in software engineering and connecting the operation to the software. And one is a word expert, my older brother, word expert of AI and how you build with AI and the implementation of AI within organization and basically all of the ecosystem of that. So he builds the brain, Alon builds the body, and I bring people and money in reality and create the vision, the strategic to where we are going. Obviously, all of us together in this crazy time, it's like we in a period of time that is equal to the Industrial Revolution. Just Industrial Revolution took 150 years, and this one will take 5 to 10 years. So everything that we know is like currently changing, and it's your ability to capture it.
Yeah. So talk about the tech and what Boom does, because I'm assuming you're selling this into short-term rental owner-operators, or maybe share a little about what it does.
Okay, so we sell it to property managers that our like average property manager will have 80 properties that they manage. That basically when you manage vacation rental homes, it's the hardest asset class in real estate. You have turnover every 5 days. So think about 70 turnover a year of people coming and going that you need to do cleaning, you need to do landscaping, in matter of residential home, pools. You need to take care of all of that. And when the guest is coming, he's expecting 5-star accommodation. Otherwise, he won't get a good review. And it's a review mechanism, basically business. When they come, they want everything to work. They want everything to be clean. Where you're dealing with a really fragmented inventory, meaning like one house is over here, another house is like 5 miles away. You have different square foot, different material, a different look, different fabrics, and how do you manage all of that? And up until now, you did it with a PMS, which is your property management software. That is property management software is connecting to a lot of little other tools like pricing, task management, owner portal, guest portal. It's like, if you look at this like in matter of businesses, it's like an ERP that connected to a lot of different pieces that are connected but not connected. They have API, but they won't be able to be really connected, which create a lot of manual labor that you need to do from one to another. And in the world of AI, it's created really fragmentation in your ability to understand data. So think about like, if you have a system that you installed it on AI chatbot and you're asking him, can I do an early check-in? How can he give you an answer if he doesn't know the task management that you need to fix a shower or a toilet, or the cleaning was done, or somebody asked for a late checkout? So it's need to connect all of the system in order to do it. Now, what is our realization became is that the world was built like SaaS. So if you have a business, your bookkeeper working on QuickBooks and your handyman working on Monday and your marketing person working on HubSpot. And in reality, the people on top of that tools managing your business, meaning like if your bookkeeper doesn't have an invoice, he will tell your handyman, hey, send me the invoice, if it's through emails, through text, whatever it is. And we are looking at it, how do I create a bus? Business as a software, where I can do an action end to end, and I have AI agent within that can answer, like customer support, sales, and how can I have agentic AI on top that create autonomously within the business, connected to all of the layers.
So if I'm a property manager, this is my one-stop shop tool to manage my cleaning crew, managing my booking agents. The entire thing is kind of housed in Boom. And so each hand talks to the next because they know exactly what's going on, as opposed to having multiple external systems trying to talk via APIs and things like that when it's not always as easy. Is that a very, very simplified version of kind of how to think about it?
100%. Think about the tourist. The tourist want to book a place. So he's going, let's say he's going to the direct web booking site. So we're supplying you that. Then it's going to the direct booking site and it connects through questions. So we connect with the CRM to your WhatsApp, email, to all of the channel all together. Then he's coming in and you have his guest portal where he can see all of the information about the house and you have a store and he can buy all of the stuff and communicate with the team. Then we have like all of the accounting module, trust accounting and all of your payment. And we have the task management that is connected to the financial and connected to the P&L of the property of the owner, that the owner can go in and see basically all of his P&L, connecting to all of the data of the people. So I can tell you who is the best cleaner, how much time it's taking to clean, who is cleaning better than the other with your best handyman, how the AI doing compared to your other customer support, what is your conversion rate, which property are doing high, which one are low. And basically we control all of the elements of your business. You control. We're giving you the capability to control.
Yeah. And then, so you said 80 short-term rentals is kind of the sweet spot for the property managers, because does that kind of...
We have also one with 400. We have one with 50, but kind of like average. That's kind of like where it sits.
And does it help? Like, does it connect to the service providers of the short-term rental? Obviously, the cleaners, the handymen. Like, is there kind of a dual-sided platform so that you can plug into some type of a, handyman's kind of database, kind of like an Angie's List or something like that, where you can kind of post jobs or gigs, if you will? Or is it more or less you have to have everything in-house within the property management software?
So right now, property managers, they have their own crew. So basically, they connecting everybody, and they have the apps. They get like their mission, their schedule for the day, and have a capability to do everything from there. We are not serving as a marketplace to service providers to that matter.
Got it. When did you kind of launch Boom, and kind of where is the business now?
So we launched Boom 3.5 years ago. 3 years ago. And we already in like 15 countries.
Okay.
The former CEO and president of Hilton, Ian Carter, is the chair of my board, also invested in us. Goldman Properties invested in us, where they are like Build Wynwood and the store in New York. We did a Series A with Avenue Growth Partners. We raised $12.7 million in a Series A, and we are growing really fast.
That's great. And are you growing kind of a traditional SaaS team? Like you're hiring all of your kind of go-to-market salespeople, or how are you kind of going to market to kind of gain more customers?
I believe customer satisfaction in the end is the best tools of growth. So our ability to create companies that are really successful, create like growth, our ability to be to have leaders in the industry joining us because they believe in the vision. Like Alex used to be the CMO of Casago that bought Vacasa, largest company currently in the world, I think, is our CMO. Came in and believe in us. Chad Blankenship used to be C-level in Vitrips, join us. Richard Volton, top 5 voices in the European market, join us. We get a lot of leadership voices really believe in the vision and the execution, and we grow a lot through convention and digital marketing. We started to really be good at it.
Yeah. Where do you see opportunities in the short-term rental space? Because obviously you probably have a lot of data on, especially being in 15 different countries, the ebbs and flows and kind of the peaks and valleys of the short-term rental space. Like, obviously there's different parts of the US that are always going to need short-term rentals, but I'm just curious about other parts of the world that maybe are seeing a boom in short-term rentals.
A boom doesn't mean, it really depends like what hat you're wearing. If you're wearing the investor hat, or if you're wearing the operational hat, or it depends what you wear to your angle. So I guess every territory have an opportunity. Yeah. Depends in which hat you're coming in.
Got it. Yeah. Well, it was funny because my wife and we traveled to Italy, to Tuscany a few years ago. And so we're like, oh, we should buy a short-term rental in Italy. And we just did some digging around, and the property management side of short-term rentals back then, it may have changed, was definitely much more fragmented than it is in the US, where you can have property management companies that will just kind of do soup to nuts. So I saw that as an opportunity. Maybe that's changed in the last 2.5 years or so, but
Yeah, a lot of development everywhere.
yeah.
Yeah, like in Europe, a lot is all in one. It's like was less common. It was like almost like booking agencies that will book it, but like yeah, almost like evolve kind of like concept, which evolve also doing other stuff. But yeah, no. Every market will have its own opportunity. You just need to have the eye to understand.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
And also what to focus on, yeah.
And you obviously, you have AI kind of baked into this platform. So where are you seeing the biggest opportunities or the biggest lift in your platform that normally a human would have to be very involved to kind of execute, whether it's booking or responses? Like, where are you seeing the biggest kind of opportunity for the AI?
Everywhere. Everywhere. It's all about the connection. We're doing a lot of tedious tasks, right? Think about bookkeeping. You're going to reconcile, you see what is not matching. In the end of the day, it's analysis, right? It's like matching what it is. Customer support. How many customer support? It's repeatable questions that are coming in that you're doing on a continuously basis. The point is to create the ability, first of all, to move the tedious tasks and to focus on strategic and growth. Your ability to put the humanity where it's needed, your ability to come from a point with an error. So if I had customer support that they move 90% of the ticket, it means that 10% of the tickets that does let get a lot of care, because that's are the big issues. And if you have like big issues of a tourist coming and you have a big issue, you want to be with him, you want to give him the care, you want to be able to take care of him in order to build the trust in the brand. And when you're moving it, actually humanity coming in, and how do you bring the more human in, where you move all of the tedious task away that really doesn't help just maintaining. So moving the maintaining so you can focus on that. And that's the big opportunity of AI and organization, also to work with A player, not in B and C. So you can work with like much better people around you, and you don't need to compromise, and you will be able to pay them more because you have more. You don't need so many. So it's create a better organization. Another thing, that organization in my life, there was one point that I had 180 employees under the management, and what I came to realize, the bigger you get, the more stupid you get as a company. Because from the leadership to move to the action of the guy doing it over here, there is a lot of layers creating barrier of the message. And also it's a B and C player that you're using sometimes. So the smaller you are, the more capability you have, as long as you control it. Yeah. And there is not a lot of like someone passed to somebody, rather than let's take accountability and move it. So
yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't really thought about the ability to hire more skilled, more kind of experienced A players, to use your words, like, because if you don't need as many of the block and tackle day-to-day kind of people, not that they wouldn't be A players in their own discipline, but you can outsource that to AI effectively. And then, you've got more strategic minded people that can then lean in on those edge cases and be very white glove and all of that to a lot of the different parts of the business. That's interesting. A way to think about it. I like it. I guess, where do you see the short-term rental kind of motion going from an investment, from, obviously you're tied to it directly with Boom. So obviously as it grows, you grow, and all of that. Do you see it becoming a little bit more institutionalized, where, a lot of big players are starting to gobble up a lot of the, mom and pop shops versus, somebody like myself going out and buying one short-term rental at a time?
So I think short-term are vulnerable to institutional in matter of like investment, big investment in depends on the segment. Yeah, multifamily changing like it to a concept of that can work, but like single family homes, I think it's hard. But the play that we do see, it's private equity buying property management company. So they're not buying the assets, they're buying the operational layer. So this is a game that they definitely see in the market. Think about it like Hilton, Marriott, like building like this kind of branding, not on the portfolio side, not on the real estate side, on the operational side. Yeah.
Got it. So as we wind this episode down here, I'm curious about kind of what we're recording this just near the end of Q1 2026. I guess if we think about, a year from now, what does Boom look like a year from now? What are some of the things you're trying to achieve in the next 12 months?
Help you build a healthy business to the company that's using us, to help them be more profitable, to help them have much more life-work balance, because it's hard. It's 24/7 mission to do, and something that was really fun, and you want to create memories for people becoming stressful. So for us, how much we can help them move the tedious test away, that will generate our success, because that will be the value that we'll create.
Love it. Well, Shahar, let's kind of wind this thing down. I've got a 3-pack of questions that I ask every guest. So first question here is, what's a book or podcast that you have found influential that you may want to recommend to the audience?
You know what, I'll do two. First of all, I'll talk about the podcast, but I also talk to how do I find a good podcast to listen to. So I'm using TikTok a lot.
Okay.
And I'm getting like 2 to 3 minute sections from like podcasts that I go to the podcast, to the one that I found interesting. And I found it to be a system that's really working well for me. As for the best podcast I like, it's a pretty famous one, Diary of a CEO.
Yeah.
Which I absolutely love. The people that he bring and what he is able to get out of the people, and the angle that they're bringing on AI and the change it will create. I really believe in it.
Got it. Love it. Yeah, no, I hadn't thought about using
Tony
TikTok
Robbins
to try to...
is a really good episode.
Tony Robbins on it?
Yeah.
To check that one out. I hadn't seen Tony Robbins on it. Awesome. No, it's definitely a good podcast. I've listened to a number of episodes, so appreciate you sharing that. Second question here, what is your favorite thing to do outside of work?
Travel and spending time with my girls, and spending time with good people.
Love it. Well, this actually will dovetail nicely into the final question, favorite vacation spot. So if you like to travel, I'm sure you've got a lot on your list.
Yeah, I did 2 big travel in my life. I did one travel like for almost a year in South America, and almost a year with my girlfriend at the time and my wife after in India and Thailand.
Oh, wow.
And to be honest, I don't have like, I loved Cape Town. Cape Town was a magic for me when I was there, but there are so many places around the world that I love.
Well, I haven't had anybody recommend Cape Town, so we'll put that on the list as far as that goes. So that's awesome. Well, this has been a lot of fun, Shahar. If people want to learn more about you, the businesses that you've run, or maybe they want to learn about Boom and how maybe they can plug it into their property management for short-term rentals, what's the best way to connect with you?
Connect with me LinkedIn. Shahar Goldboim on LinkedIn. Easy. Really active over there. And as for us, like boomnow.com, and ask for like a demo from the team. We'd love to do that.
Awesome. Shahar, man, really nice to meet you. Appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope you found at least one actionable insight from this episode of the Growth Capital Podcast, your one-stop shop for insights from private equity leaders, CEOs, and startup entrepreneurs on starting, investing in, and scaling successful businesses, as well as the role having the right talent plays in growing a successful business. It would be greatly appreciated if you would rate and review this podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe and drop us a comment so we can expand the audience of this podcast. Thank you for all your support, and don't forget about upcoming episodes dropping every Tuesday.